Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next edition of Konecktnow.com's Take 3 series. We're here today to interview Anne Miltenburg of thebrandling.com, and she's going to share with us her insights about the field of brand development, and she's going to give us some advice about how you would get into the field, and then talk to us about some of the challenges and opportunities within the field of brand development, particularly as it relates to social impact. So let's begin.
So as a brand developer, you're asked by entrepreneurs or corporates, scientists, activists, NGOs to think about how they can better sell themselves to the world, both how to frame the ideas that they're selling or the products that they're selling, how to reach their audiences, how to help them structure their thinking around what a value am I offering, and how can I create a story about what we're trying to achieve that's really appealing to people. And it can translate into really tangible things like a visual identity or a name for an organization or an idea or product. It can translate to marketing campaigns, advertising, event design, product design, graphics. And so it's a pretty wide field, and it has lots of different disciplines. Yeah, so I think marketing is really the process of bringing a product or service to the market, literally, whereas branding is a little bit more at a high level of what's the layer of meaning and purpose that sits within your company, and how do you frame that in a proper way, and so that people understand what is it that you do, what's the value of it, how do I relate to it, how do I connect to it, what's your personality. And a marketeer would then come in and say, okay, how do I now connect that to, for instance, a local audience or investors or customers, yeah. I think for a lot of companies it's becoming increasingly important to have some higher purpose than just to sell stuff. So when you look at the world, a lot of things have become commodities. Like, you know, there's a lot of companies that make perfectly fine fridges or perfectly fine phones. But how do you actually appeal to a new generation of people who are coming out of school and who also want to have a meaningful connection to the products that they buy? They are also looking to work at companies that offer meaning. So what you see with a lot of companies starting today and a lot of existing companies is that they're looking for ways to connect to some deeper purpose. And I think the challenge in that is to do that in a really authentic way, so to really understand what is it that we want to achieve in the world apart from just selling fridges. Then you also have a category of entrepreneurs who have a built-in social impact model. So they're trying to address, for instance, poverty or disenfranchisement of women through creating business models that address those challenges. And for them, the question is always, how do I sell that really well? Because I think there's a tendency to think that ideas for change, if they're good ideas, if they're appealing, they will kind of sell themselves. But unfortunately, the chance of your company or your organization, that idea going viral and spreading like wildfire, are just really small. So what we do is we think about how do we actually help you do that in a conscious way. And I think there is an art and a skill to that. So it's not just purely about, you know, how I've been selling fridges, now I can apply this to this idea for good. It's also a craft that you need to own over time. And there's not a lot of resources for that, so that's what we're trying to address, to create those resources that people can learn about how do I build a brand for change. Yeah, values are incredibly important because they are the ethics that you base all your decisions on. So I think traditionally within branding, values have kind of become these like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of words and sometimes we put them on the wall so everyone knows them, but they don't really mean much. But we really look at the values as, okay, how does this impact, you know, what kind of products you develop, who do you hire, what does your supply chain look like, and doing that in a really consistent way across all these different areas builds a strong brand, because people really are very finely tuned whether you're serious about what you stand for, if it's just some veneer that you're pretending to be. And so values are one aspect that we think are important for brand development, and so we've created tools that show the anatomy of a strong brand, and we've created processes that you can follow, and all those are available through the book that we wrote, Brand the Change, and we have the tools online as well for people to download digitally. And we do workshops and trainings around this method so that people can learn, okay, this is the anatomy of a strong brand, this is how I can apply that to my own profession or my own business, and really use them throughout the process of building a brand. I think that's really a good question. I would say that branding is a very standard operating procedure for commercial companies. And for them, the question is really about how to find a purpose that aligns with their product. You can't just slap on some kind of social impact idea onto the thing that you already have, like fridges and women's empowerment don't really match. If you think about the social impact space, I think people are very reluctant to think about how do I sell myself better, because it feels like a trick or it feels like cosmetic surgery. But I really believe that we need to do justice to some of the amazing ideas that are out there, and just by simply hoping that your idea will fly and kind of, you know, crossing your fingers, you know, hope is just not a very good brand strategy. And so we really want people to be conscious and build their skills in thinking more intelligently and more effectively of how they could make a difference to their own company and getting the word out. I think if you have the mindset where you love to be of service to someone and you really want to help them succeed and you want to see them shine, I think brand development is a really interesting field, because you get a chance to work with people who are building something incredible, and you get to apply your skill in a way that's really meaningful to them, because for someone else to come in and say, okay, I'm going to help you get the best out of this thing that you're building, I think is really a lovely collaboration. I think the best thing you could do is read up and experience as much as possible about this field. How have brands that you love, how have they been built, how have they been put together? What kind of skills would you like to develop that match that kind of work? So I think, you know, some people are more strategic, some people are more visual and creative, some people are more analytical, and there's jobs for all those different types of skills within branding. So I think in that sense, regardless of what professional background you would have, you could find a niche for that within the field of branding for sure.
Thank you so much, Anne, for sharing with us your insights today, and we look forward to seeing you again next time at Konecktnow.com.